Welcome to a new episode of Ain't Got Time to Read, the place where I read a story, give you a breakdown of the plot, and simply save you time. Here is your spoiler alert. If you have not read the story I'm about to discuss and you do plan to read it, then you may want to avoid this video. So that being said, let's dig into the plot of today's story. The story starts with Electro breaking into a warehouse after hearing a rumour about it holding an experimental superconductor. Electro is unaware that Spiderman is watching the warehouse because of a string of recent break-ins. Spiderman attacks Electro and stops his break-in, but as they fight, Doctor Octopus appears. He reveals to Electro that he started the rumour about the superconductor in order to find Electro and ask for his help. Electro agrees and Doc Ock puts an employee's life in danger knowing that Spiderman will save him, allowing Doctor Octopus and Electro the time they need to escape. While at work, Mary Jane messes up some of her lines and the director goes ballistic at her. When he has calmed down, the director is struck down by a light fixture and it is revealed that the cord has actually been cut. Later that day, when Mary Jane and Peter visit Aunt May, Aunt May's boyfriend Nathan is acting strange, and Aunt May asks Peter to keep an eye on him. Peter agrees and follows Nathan to the bank. As he leaves with a bag and followed by a group of thugs, they try to rob Nathan, but Peter makes an appearance as Spiderman, and once he has beaten the men, he notices that Nathan's bag is filled with a lot of money. While heading home, Doctor Octopus approaches the Sandman and asks for his help. Sandman tells him that he's not a criminal anymore, but Doctor Octopus threatens the lives of the people that Sandman is boarding with, so Sandman has no choice but to accept. Doctor Octopus pays the Hobgoblin a visit and asks him to join the Sinister Six. He refuses and attacks Doc Ock, but when Doctor Octopus defends himself and threatens to kill the Hobgoblin, he changes his mind and accepts. Mary Jane decides to tag along with Peter on his assignment, and they bump into Flash Thompson and Felicia Hardy. Peter feels bad for brushing Flash off all of the time, and he doesn't want to be around his ex-girlfriend Felicia, also known as the Black Cat. Peter and Mary Jane are at a show that Peter is photographing when the Shocker causes a ruckus and attempts to steal money. Spiderman stops him and they fight. After fighting the Shocker so many times already, the Shocker doesn't prove too difficult and Spiderman defeats him. Doctor Octopus visits Mysteria and asks him to rejoin the Sinister Six, and he agrees to join. The Kingpin has the Vulture show off a demonstration of his skills in front of his associates, as he has hired the Vulture to kill a man named Raymond Trask. Aunt May's dying boyfriend Nathan calls his bookies and checks the odds of Raymond Trask being murdered, as the large sum of money he had was from cancelling his life insurance, and he has gambled it in the hopes of making Aunt May a lot of money. As Peter is taking Raymond Trask's pictures, the Vulture attacks, so Peter quickly changes into Spiderman. Nathan is horrified to see Spiderman, as he knows that he will save Trask and Nathan will lose all of his money. Spiderman fights off the Vulture and keeps him away from Raymond Trask. Chance appears and attempts to wipe out Spiderman, but Spiderman webs him in the face and sends him flying into a water tower. Unable to remove the webbing, he blindly flies away. The Vulture grabs Aunt May, but Nathan grabs hold of him. The Vulture lets go of Aunt May and flies upwards, causing Nathan to fall. Spiderman saves him, but his aunt can't take it. As the Vulture is surrounded by helicopters, Doctor Octopus appears in his craft and saves the Vulture. Spiderman can do nothing as Nathan dies in Aunt May's arms. Days later, Hobgoblin and Mysteria attack the college professors and attempt to steal Burundite from the professors. They attempt to lock the Burundite away, but Hobgoblin blows the safe to bits. This grabs the attention of Peter, and he quickly changes into Spiderman and then attacks the Hobgoblin. Using his hypnotic mists, Mysterio has a bunch of students believe that Spiderman is attacking an old lady. The students attack him, which allows Mysterio and Hobgoblin to escape with the Burundite. While out on a walk, Flash Thompson and Felicia Hardy are mugged by a group of thugs. As Flash is unaware that Felicia is the Black Cat, she refrains from fighting.
When Flash fights them off, her feelings begin to change as she has never had somebody stick up for her before. After hearing reports of another robbery, this time by the Sandman, and the Vulture, Spider-Man attempts to stop them, but fails as Sandman distracts Spider-Man, allowing them both to escape. Meanwhile, Jonathan Caesar is planning to kidnap Mary Jane and take her away to a tropical island where she will be unable to escape. Spider-Man gets a lead on Electro committing a robbery, but Doctor Octopus rescues him again, frustrating Spider-Man. Doctor Octopus is happy that the others succeeded in their tasks. To them, they believe that they are going to hold the world ransom and make all 6 of them world leaders, but Doctor Octopus has plans of taking all the glory for himself. Several days later, after visiting Aunt May, a piece of slab falls onto the street and would have killed Peter if not for his spider sense. He investigates, but no one is in sight. Peter tells Mary Jane and they both discuss the possibility of it being Jonathan Caesar. Jonathan Caesar visits the director and forces him to write Mary Jane a letter asking her to meet him. Jonathan Caesar then kills the director by poisoning him. Peter is attending the Cordco launch as he is part of his college's ley line experiment. He hears an explosion and realises that Doctor Octopus has put the Sinister Six back together, but with Hobgoblin taking Kraven's place. Spider-Man takes out the Hobgoblin first and has luck on his side when tackling the Vulture. He accidentally takes out Electro, who then incapacitates the Vulture. Spider-Man realises that Doctor Octopus has installed poison onto the shuttle and attacks Doc Ock, but Mysterio interrupts. As Doc Ock and Mysterio get the upper hand against Spider-Man, Sandman steps in and refuses to let them kill Spider-Man. Doc Ock uses a special gun and turns Sandman into glass. While Spider-Man is distracted by the remaining Sinister Six members, Doctor Octopus kills one of the controlmen and forces the others to launch the shuttle. As the shuttle takes off, Spider-Man can't believe that he's failed, and the Hobgoblin throws poison at Spider-Man and tells him that he has 15 seconds left to live. The poison does not kill him, and Doctor Octopus has to reveal that it wasn't a poison, but a cure for cocaine addiction that will make drug users need to use Buradite if they want to continue their habits. The remaining members of the Sinister Six are not happy and attack Doctor Octopus, but they have to stop and escape as the police approach them. Spider-Man is put in a position where he has to either save Sandman or go after Doctor Octopus. He puts a tracer on Doctor Octopus and decides to save Sandman. Peter heads to college where he is told that Doc Ock's cure is eating away at the ozone layer at a rapid rate, and the Buradite is the only way to reverse the effect that it is having on the ozone layer. Mary Jane visits the director as the letter requested, only to find that Jonathan Caesar is there. He tells her they are going away forever and he threatens her with a knife. Spider-Man gets the location of Doctor Octopus's base from Sandman and knows that Doctor Octopus won't be there, but he does manage to pick up a spider tracer signal. The NYPD detective interrupts John Caesar's kidnapping of Mary Jane and shoots Jonathan Caesar in cold blood. He then reveals to Mary Jane that he's not really a cop and he's Mary Jane's biggest fan. When Spider-Man finds Doctor Octopus, he doesn't believe that his cure is destroying the ozone layer and attacks Spider-Man. Their fight causes an explosion. The fake detective admits that he was the one that hurt her director and tried to drop a slab onto Peter. He is about to kill Mary Jane, but she convinces him to come closer so she can tell him what was going to happen on the sitcom for her character. She sprays him with hairspray and knocks him out, managing to escape. As fire spreads across Doc Ock's base, he realises that Spider-Man was telling the truth, as Spider-Man doesn't save Doc Ock's life to get to the Buradite. Doctor Octopus lets Spider-Man leave. After destroying the cure with the Buradite and saving the ozone layer, Spider-Man heads home to Mary Jane, where they both tell each other how crazy their days have been.
Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you with the next video.